paper thin skin, held up longer than I was falling.
Welcome to Center Stage, the documentary podcast. Each week, our group of intrepid researchers and music archivists dig through the record crates of the world, looking for that one artist to take center stage. Using a patent-pending algorithm and spirited debate, we pick one artist. Once that is settled, we invite that artist into Thunder Love Studio to chat with your hosts Keith R. Higgins and Jeff Calhoun. When we're lucky, they say yes. Our mission with Center Stage is simple: to make sure the recorded work of artists remains, or in some cases lands on, the cultural radar. We invite you to sit back and relax. Thank you for joining us.
Schuyler Fisk is a unicorn of sorts in the creative arts field. She is a well-known actress currently in The Chicken Sisters on the Hallmark Channel, and she is a noted singer and songwriter. With 3 full-length albums, some EPs, and several singles under her belt, she's amassed a legion of loyal fans. Skylar recently joined us in Thunder Love Studio, where we got to talk about all aspects of her multifaceted career. Here is our conversation with Schuyler Fisk. Skylar, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Now, years ago, I pitched this like 2.5 years ago. Back then, the podcast was called Abandoned Albums, and I pitched it under the premise of just talking about the good stuff. But since then, I've rebranded and called it Center Stage, so now we can talk about the entire breadth of your career.
Perfect.
Yes. So I think the first question I want to ask you, as both an actress and a singer-songwriter, I remember hearing an interview with your mom on the Mark Maron podcast, where she had said her goal was to first be a singer-songwriter rather than an actress. And then I'd read a review or an article in the Times from 2009 where you said it was just the opposite. Is that true?
You know, I think it kind of flip-flops for me all the time. I mean, music and acting kind of started out together for me, I guess, because I started doing musical theater as a really young kid and just loved doing both. And so I think I am really happy doing either. And I feel really lucky to get to do both. But yeah, I guess, I think about it a lot. I was thinking about it when I was doing this show. And yeah, I do think I'm an actress. I don't know. I think I'm both.
Yeah, you're definitely both.
I don't know what comes first, really. I think I'd be doing music regardless of it was a career.
That's fair enough. Now, you're hardly the first actor to go down the path of being a musician and being both. How do you manage to balance them both so effectively and so brilliantly?
I think it's just sort of accidental luck. Truly.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I think, just to go back to your last question, I do think I went to LA to pursue an acting career. Like, that was my initial goal. And when I soon realized that it's really hard to get a job. It's really hard to get a job as an actor, and there's so much competition. And so I needed something sort of like keep me busy and creative. And so then that's kind of how the music career happened, just because I was doing it. But yeah, I think just kind of like, I think art begets art. And when I'm working on a show, I'm feeling creative and inspired and I want to make music. And, I see a film and I'm like, ooh, I want to write a song, or I want to write a song to go in the film, or I want to, I don't know, it all kind of, or I read an article and it inspires a song. So.
That totally makes sense. And that is another question I have. You've gotten songs placed and you've written songs for movies and television shows. Do you find it's more challenging to write a song for a pre-existing narrative?
It can be. I think it kind of just depends. I feel like it depends on how inspired I am by the subject.
Okay.
I definitely think, when I'm writing about my own life or something that I'm feeling just inside me, it sometimes like kind of will pour out in a way that feels like it's sort of just like coming, like I'm downloading it or something. But then again, I've also sort of felt that I wrote a song for a film called Sam and Kate that I was in a few years ago. And I wrote that from the perspective of my character. And I had like read the script a couple of times. I was so moved by it. And I just was in that mindset. And I kind of felt like that also came as a little bit of a download. So yeah, I don't know. I think it just depends on how inspired I am by the subject, I guess.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And I watched Sam and Kate yesterday. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was a special one to do.
Really? Why is that?
Well, I got to work with my mom,
Mm-hmm.
and that was really fun. And I got to work with Dustin Hoffman, who is amazing, and his son, Jake Hoffman, who is a dear friend of mine for like 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there were just so many things, and it was just a real collaborative process. And then I got to write music for it. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Don't fall asleep is what I think when I close my eyes. I don't want to see the life that could have been, but either way it hurts. It's hard to find the words. I should be packing up a lunchbox in a rush to meet the school bus and telling me it's okay. God, I miss that perfect face. You changed my course, turned on lights in rooms that I had always kept dark, and rearranged my heart so I can breathe again. I can't believe it happened. This wasn't how I planned it. The cards that I was handed. You take the weight and share it. You take my heart and carry it. You make the hard things better. You gave me life after. I'm not expecting easy, but I see you and you see me. You make my heart beat faster. You gave me life after. We could make a fresh start, send our old lives postcards, draw me in your storyboard.
Your career as a musician, and maybe as an actress too, has been independent. What do you gain from being an independent artist, do you think?
For me, it's, doing what I want, releasing the music that I want to release. I dipped my toe into the major label world very early. Actually, before I did the good stuff, I was signed to a major record label, and they were wonderful. They did so many wonderful things for me, and ultimately it was a great experience. They connected me with a lot of writers, and I really felt like I was in boot camp. But then when it came time to make a record, it really felt like we were not seeing eye to eye at all. And it was a really challenging, frustrating time. And ultimately, I asked to please just be released from my contract. And they granted me that wish, which I'm so grateful for, because I got to then make the record that I wanted to make and that I'd been writing basically my whole life. And that is the good stuff. And so, yeah, I think just having the control, the final say, like I'm very particular with every detail when I'm making a record. The mixes are like, I notoriously just get very emotional over the mixes. Like I'm hearing too much of that or not enough of this, or that's not how, but it should be emotional, it's important. It's something that's like coming from you and you want it to be right. And anyway, so for me, it's that. But it is a double-edged sword because, when you don't have a machine behind you, it's a lot of, you have to sort of like self-motivate, self-start, kind of be your own little engine as far as getting your music out there and, paying for everything, all that kind of stuff, dealing with sending out merch or if you're selling stuff and there's, the whole thing.
Let's talk a little bit about the good stuff, which I think a friend of mine turned me on to, and I was just gobsmacked. It's such a great, great record.
Thank you.
You said it took you your whole life to write?
Well, people, they say that. They say, your first album, you have your whole life to write, and then after that, you have like a deadline. You got to put one out in another year or whatever it is. And I kind of laughed that off at first, but it's sort of true. You have songs you've been writing for years, but also it's just like it's the first thing you put out there. So it's sort of like everything that in your life has gotten you to that place to make this particular record. So I want to ask you about two songs. The first song I want to ask you about, which is hands down my favorite song on the record, which is Sunshine. Tell me about that song. That song was the last song added to the record. The record was basically complete minus that song. We actually have a couple, maybe 3 other songs that we kicked off the record at right before we finished it. But it felt like my managers at the time were like, we really need like an upbeat song, I feel like they felt like that was missing from the collection of songs. And so I was recording at the time, the record took a long time to make. And for half of the record, we recorded it in a garage studio in Agoura Hills in the dead of summer. It was so hot and there was an AC unit, but it was so loud that we'd have to like turn it off every time we were recording and then, turn it off when we were recording so that we wouldn't hear the sound. Anyway, it was so hot. It was just like, but it was such a part of the experience. It was great. And then, Dave Bassett, who I made the record with, he ended up building a studio in Malibu. And so by the time we finished the record, I was driving out to Malibu to meet up with him in his new studio, which was really nice. And so we're driving along PCH and it was just beautiful in the sun. Anyway, there was a lot of California inspiration with that song.
Okay.
And yeah, Dave Bassett is wonderful. We wrote so many of the songs together. It was a really special musical relationship for that record, and I'm so grateful to him. He's so great. He's gone on to like Grammy nominated, all sorts of hits all over the place. So
Oh, wow.
I'm really happy for him.
Now, the second song I want to ask you about seems to be almost on the opposite end of the spectrum to Sunshine. It's not all sunshine and roses. It's Who Am I to You? That's a gut-wrenching song.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites, just because it's so different from most of the things that I've done.
Quiet lies beneath the blue moon. You couldn't say much less now, could you? It's on your mind. It's in your eyes. But you disguise it. You're so charming. If it's not me, you need to slip aside. If I'm not the thought, it's always on your mind. If I'm not the reason why you dream tonight, the love you never lose. Who am I to
So that song I wrote for a dear friend of mine. She called me and was just really upset over a guy, a relationship sort of that hadn't ever really taken off. She just didn't know where she stood with this guy or who she was to him. And I just sort of was listening as a friend, you know, like you do. And it just really inspired me. I knew the guy a little bit, but yeah. And so that song came out pretty quickly. And yeah, it's always a fun thing when you write a song about a friend or a friend's experience. And then you're like, oh, by the way, this is about you. And they're like, oh. But yeah, that song has like some weird, cool, like accidental things that happened in it on the recording side that, yeah, just sort of.
Well, like what?
Like when Dave and I were recording it, there was like some weird glitch that was happening, and we were like, what is that sound? What happened? And then we were like, that's really cool. Let's like repeat it, you know, and we made it louder, and it became this really cool kind of part of the track that we tried to actually recreate at a certain point. We're like, well, maybe we should just like try and do this for real. Like we know what the idea of this like line is now, but we couldn't get the magic, you know, we couldn't recreate it. It was just kind of like this thing that happened, and it's on the track. So
Perfect.
yeah.
Well, whatever made it onto the track certainly works for me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There's like an innocence, not naivete, to the good stuff. And there's a maturity, which is not necessarily cynicism, on We Could Be All Right. Like a song like East Side could be almost a natural progression from a song like From Where I'm Standing. You know, I think that's more of an observation than a question. I mean,
no, I think that's very insightful. I think yes, I agree with you. I mean, I think there's a lot of life lived in between those two songs.
Don't say your name name, I tried to forget your number. If I say I'm okay, maybe one day I will be. Maybe I just need a rock to live under. I'm tired of thinking about if you're thinking about me. I stay up at night questioning all your reasons. And maybe you're right and there's nothing left to do. Maybe you'll find someone else to make you happy. Or maybe you'll still be thinking about if I'm thinking about you. But if you just come back, we can live on the east side. We can make it easy. If we could just let go, we could look on the bright side. We could be alright. Stuck in my head, things that I could have done better.
You know, I thought a lot about, and on the cover of the We Could Be Alright record, it's a picture of me as a little kid. And I remember writing the record, and there was just all sorts of confusion and heartbreak and just sort of like, you know, stuff going on in the world and in my life. And I remember thinking like, God, if I had known all of these things were coming when I was this little kid, you know, like what a different life that would have been. And I just remember thinking about, I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't say like the loss of innocence, but just, I think there's a rawness to it. And I think you're right about like a lot of the songs on the good stuff. And like from where I'm standing, there is, and I think that's just age, you know, I remember making my first record and just like, I was so, and I don't want to call it, I don't want to say I was naive, but I was just so open and like ready and like the world is my oyster and I can do anything. And I really like, it's like when you don't know, the more you know less, or I don't know what the saying is, but you realize how little you know,
Right.
The more you know, you're like, oh, wow. And I definitely think and I think it's something that can really get in the way of artists, you know, it's something you have to fight against because it's like, there's a lot more to be scared of. You get older and you're like, oh God, I didn't know that back then. I wouldn't have done it like that. But the way you did it was so real and true and in the moment. So I don't know. I think there's just something so refreshing about, that's why, I mean, I love young artists. I love all the, you know, that sort of like wide-eyed, I don't know, energy. Sure. But it's also so nice to, you know, when you have more life lived, to be able to really connect with artists that have also had some life lived. You know?
To that end, there's a real confessional element to your songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
You probably get asked this often, but how much of that is based on your own experience, or is it just a matter of closing your eyes and going into a creative space and creating an environment that helps you write something so confessional that has a universality to it? I
think it's both. There's certainly a handful of songs that are very much like was cathartic. It was a bit of, you know, sort of processing things and just kind of getting it out. There were like many songs on this new record that I was like, well, I'll never release these. These are just for me, you know. But then a couple of years went by and I was like, I can release them. But then also, you know, they're like, Who Am I to You? Like many of the songs on We Could Be Alright that are not about me. You would think they might be about me, but they aren't. Sometimes I just like to be, maybe it's the acting side of things, of just me wanting to get into the brain of someone else and write from that perspective and just sort of let it out that way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Who are your inspirations for a singer-songwriter?
Well, so many things, but, you know, and then they've changed. But I would say, like, you know, when I was first writing songs, when I first was like, picked up a guitar, I was basically listening in the car to what my parents were listening to. And at the time, my mom was listening to a ton of Bonnie Raitt. I am such a fan. She is everything. I love her. Her records. Yeah. So she's a huge influence. And then I think, you know, like so many things like the Beatles, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. I loved like harmonies. You know, I remember my mom kind of teaching me how to sing harmonies. Like she would just sing along to something. I'd be like, how do you know that? Like, how can you just, you know, find that harmony? And she'd be like, I don't know, if you just practice, you just keep doing it, you'll find them eventually. And so then I became obsessed with harmonies, and my mom and I would sing together. And my dad listened to a lot of jazz. So I also like love jazz. I love a lot of old school country. I listen a lot lately. I've been listening to a lot of John Prine.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He's just like timeless and cool, and just, he says so much, and I think he's just wonderful. But then, you know, I'm trying to think what I'm listening to right now. Like went through a Kurt Weill phase. I love him. I love, I don't know.
A bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds that way.
Yeah.
Which?
Ricky Lee Jones.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a name that doesn't get kicked around enough, I don't think.
I agree.
Here's a stupid question. I know you're not listed as being in Bloodline, but were you in there? Because I thought there was a flashback sequence where I thought I saw you. It's
so funny. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I was not in that, but even when I watched it, I was like, was that me? So many texts from so many people being like, you were great in Bloodline this week, you know? And I was like, oh my God, that's too funny. But no, I wasn't.
Okay. All right.
I did play a flashback of my mom in Castle Rock.
Reflecting on both being a musician and an actress, what do you think the biggest lesson you've learned by not having that big machine behind you, aside from the fact that you got to do everything yourself?
Gosh, it's so interesting because, you know, when I made the good stuff, when I was starting out, it was such a different scene. I feel like so much has changed in these last 20 years or more. Like, you know, just with people being able to release, you know, it takes so little now to record a record. You can do it on your laptop with one little microphone, and, you know, like it's so user friendly to not only make your own music, but just release it. So it's a really cool stretch of time to have been doing this, because it's just everything everyone thought they knew when I set out to make my first record. Everything those music executives told me has changed 120%, you know, now. So, I don't even remember the question.
What do you think one of the biggest lessons you've learned?
I think just, you know, that you have to just, you know, sometimes I forget that I need to release the music. I mean, that is like something that I have, you know, I have so many songs that I've recorded and now I'm starting to release them. But like, you know, I get in my bubble of like making the music, and then I've heard it so many times, and my friend, you know, some of my family has heard it, but then I sort of forget that to release it.
You forget to release it.
I forget to release it. Yeah. So I'm going to work on that. I don't know if that's something I've learned, but it's something I'm learning.
Okay.
Yeah. And just so, you know, I don't know, just to, you know, be aware of what's going on, to be affected by the world so that you can feel those things and, you know, share them. I don't know.
Well, the whole releasing landscape for an independent artist has changed so radically since in the past 20 years. I mean, for the better, arguably. I mean,
yeah. I would say it's, you know, you look at stories like Loretta Lynn or, you know, way back in the day where there was, it seems like a lot less competition. You know, if you really set out to do it and you went into the, you know, she went into the radio stations and had to play her single. And can you imagine if that was how it worked today? Just like I mean, so it's, that was a very special time in music too. Wow.
Yeah. Do you have thoughts on Spotify and some of that digital stuff? I didn't see a Bandcamp page for you.
I don't have a Bandcamp page, and it's just because I haven't gotten around to it. I've thought about it a lot. You know, it's a bummer how it works. It's a bummer with like Spotify and stuff. For artists, you know, you can have so many downloads and you still make so little. Yeah. And I think it's just, yeah, it's a shame. It's like artists, especially independent artists, have to figure out another way to sort of, you know, make money. It's just so hard in the music business to make money now. And, you know, people have to sort of like sell their souls to be, you know, influencers or whatever it is to get people that are interested in them to then maybe listen to their music. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. I wish there was a more fair way. I think people feel like they want their music to be free. You know, and I get it. Music is, you know, brings people together. It's something meant to be shared. You want people to hear it, you know, paying or not. But then it's like, oh, well, this is something I'm spending all my days doing and I'm paying people to like for their time. And it's a tricky thing.
I find for me, I listen to less music.
Yeah.
Unless I hate to sound, old school, but I'll put on a CD or an album.
Yeah.
Where I can actually sit down and read the lyrics or read what was going on. And
God, I love that. I loved, like, that is my childhood, getting a CD and reading the lyrics and like listening to the record. I try to always like have my lyrics available because I want people to read the lyrics along with the song, you know, it's cool. Yeah. We listen to a lot of CDs actually in our house too, and LPs, but yeah, we're on a CD kick right now.
Okay.
So
what's in the CD player right now?
God, what is in there right now? I think there might be some classical music in there right now, but, you know, like I said, I've been on a real John Prine train.
You be mine, hand in hand in the ticket line, upside down on a carnival ride. That's how it is in my mind. We drive the coast, windows down, blasting radio. The ocean glows and the full moon shines. Well, that's how it goes in my mind. Don't wake me up now that you're gone. Even the sun is turning blue. What good is love if you're not here for me to give it to? What good is love without you? Sail away.
Recently you did, speaking of getting your start in theater, you participated in Anna Kay?
Yes.
What can you tell us about that? That was pretty cool.
It's so cool. Okay. Anna Kay is a new musical. It's so incredibly special with the most amazing music. It is a modern day musical adaptation of Anna Karenina, Tolstoy's Anna Karenina, written by my dear friend Chris Coit and Arthur Phillips. Chris wrote all the music. It is just, I'm almost speechless over the music. It's just incredible. I've been lucky enough to sort of be a part of it from the very beginning. I've heard Chris talk about, he was going to write this musical for like over a decade. And Chris is a collaborator of mine, musical collaborator. So he asked me early on to demo some songs for him, sing on them. And I heard the songs and I was like, yes, please. And so did that. And just, I've just been a fan and ally with the project. So so anyway, I've just been along for the ride to help in whatever way I can. And we've done this is our second sort of showcase of some of the music. We did 2 shows in New York at Joe's Pub. They were so amazing. We had an incredible band. We had incredible singers. The music is just so special. It's hopefully going to be, being brought to the stage to Broadway sometime in the near future. It's such a long, winding road to get there. My goodness. That's a whole other world I really didn't know too much about and still really struggle to keep up with all the ins and outs of it. But, they also, anyway, there's big plans for it.
Good.
And I'm a part of it. So I'm thrilled and it's all really exciting.
No, that's awesome. I watched your clip in particular and I was like, wow, this is actually really, really interesting and good.
Yeah.
So I hope to hear more from it. And I was pissed because it was just last month.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I got to pay more attention. I'm in New Haven, Connecticut. So I could have easily come down.
I was in Vancouver filming my show and literally hopped plane, got to New York, did the show the next morning, flew back to Vancouver and went straight from the airport to work. I was like,
oh, wow.
That's my name. But it was wonderful.
Let's talk about your show, The Chicken Sisters. It's got a new season coming out, correct?
August 10th.
August 10th.
Season 2.
Tell us a little bit about the show.
I love this show. The Chicken Sisters is a show about family, about relationships, about sort of all, it's multi-generational, it spans really 3 generations. And it's about the first season is based on the best-selling book of the same name, The Chicken Sisters, written by KJ Dell'Antonia. And, it's about these 2 chicken restaurants in a very small southern town that sign up for this reality TV competition show. And, as they do, it kind of brings out all the cracks in everyone's lives and sort of blows them up. And now and then, of course there's a winner and there's a loser and there's all the stuff that happens after. And then this season, we sort of pick back up where we left off, although it's one of those things where I really feel like for this season, you could just, if you haven't seen season 1, you could just start in season 2 and it would be a totally fine jumping off point. You wouldn't be lost, but I think our writers are really great and we dig into a lot of things, real things that people are going through. And there's a lot to connect to. It's funny. There's great actors. We have so much fun. I got to do a Southern accent.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
Yeah. Really cool.
Aren't you from Virginia?
Yes. But this is my accent, I have a little bit of an accent. I kind of hold it in a little, but it was really fun to sort of let it out. I've got so many family members in Texas with these beautiful big accents that I got to draw from. And yeah, we had a good old time.
Awesome. And that's the Hallmark channel, correct?
Yes. So this season will come out on Hallmark channel. You don't have to last year you had to subscribe to this new their Hallmark Plus streaming platform. This year it's just available on TV to stream. So I hope people watch it. It's really sweet and nice and it's like a cozy show. It's nice watch.
It's good branding for Hallmark.
I think so. I think it's good for them. I really do. And they've in the past few years, they have branched out and they've done some other series that I think are really good and sort of elevated more than maybe what you expect, especially in their Christmas genre thing, which is there's a place for that too. Love a Christmas movie all year,
Yeah.
but it's cool. It's cool to see what they're doing. They've been so good to me. I feel really lucky to be a part of the show.
Do you know yet if there'll be a season 3?
I don't, but should we start a rumor that there is? No, I'm hopeful because we have so much fun. Our whole crew from season 1 came back for season 2. So it was like a big party. It was like going back to summer camp. It just made the experience really enjoyable. And I think that really comes across, we love each other. So
how does, outside of the obvious, but how does creatively acting in a show differ from the creativity or the process or the tools you rely on from doing an album? I mean, they're the obvious ones, but
yeah, I think, well, for me, it's I sort of really appreciate the constraints of, doing someone else's show, that someone else is writing it and you're depending on all these other people and you're not the only person in charge. You're definitely not the only person in charge and you're not, you don't get the final say on things, but it's a real collaboration in a different way. And, it's very collaborative. There's so many more people that work for so long, work so hard to make it all happen, but it's challenging. It's so much fun, but it's so challenging. I mean, we'd shoot 2 episodes at a time. And those 2 episodes would have one director. And then when you'd finish that, you had about 2 weeks to do, 2.5 weeks maybe to do 2 episodes. And then you would do the next 2 episodes and you'd have another director. So, and they give you the scripts 3 days before we'd shoot the 2 episodes. So you really felt you never really knew what to expect. And it was always exciting to know what was going to happen with your character, with, the arc of the whole show. And then you also throw in different personalities and different people's creative instincts as far as you have different directors, you have different writers. But we had incredible writer producers and many of them were on set through the whole season. So we did have a total common thread, which was really nice. And, yeah, I don't know. It was so, I'm fresh off of just finishing shooting it. So I'm buzzing at this, what a fun time it was. And it definitely made me want to be acting more because it's a side that, it's just so fun to do, to shapeshift into someone else. And I don't know. I was telling someone earlier, when we get these scripts and you never knew what to expect and you'd be like, oh, I'm doing that. Okay, well, they trust me with that. They think I can do it. I guess I can do it. And you just have to kind of it's an exciting ride.
Yeah. You mentioned collaborations. I want to ask you about a couple of different collaborations for you musically. You are in a band, Me and My Brother, with Sam Wilson and Carl Anderson. Is that still a thing?
We have all sort of taken a moment to do our own solo records, and we're all sort of all over the place but we have been talking about recording because we never put out a record, and we have a great collection of songs. We had so much fun touring, and we have been really talking about getting in and recording those songs because they should be heard. It's one of those things that's like, yeah, we should share this music. You know, it's music that I love. That's so fun to play live and to sing. And it's a lot of those harmonies. I mean, it was all based on like this collaboration and us singing together and these 3-part harmonies and kind of digging into a more sort of rootsy country inspired vibe. And yeah, so we aren't like, I wouldn't say we're functioning as a, band at the moment in the way that most bands function, but we definitely are all doing our art and have these songs that we are going to record.
And there are potentially plans in the future.
Yes. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Now, the collaboration with Klaus, a song called About It. Tell us about it.
I'll tell you about it. So Klaus is an amazing duo band out of Richmond. 2 guys that I collaborate with a lot. In other musical ventures. And this came about, this has a lot of like, sort of like a little nod to like some country roots. And I was making my show, The Chicken Sisters, set in a small town somewhere, southern USA, and listening to a lot of old school country. And also, I lived in Texas for a while, got really into the 2-step scene, and kind of been floating around in my head that I wanted to make music that people could 2-step to. And because typically I kind of lean towards like these like heart-wrenching, like sit and cry songs that, ballads. But I wanted something to be able to dance to. And so anyway, that was just sort of on my brain. And so I, was collaborating with Colin from Klaus, and we got this idea, and it just sort of became this like cool little idea of a song. And then we sent it to Curtis, the other member of Klaus. And then he had all these really cool ideas. And I don't think in the beginning we were like, oh, this will be something that we're going to like release. It was just like, this is so cool. What can we make? And anyway, then we just like kept going with it. And then we're like, well, let's just mix it and see how it sounds. Let's just master it and see how it sounds. Like, maybe we should release it. So that's how it happened. And I'm excited about it. I think it's like a different side of me. It's fun.
Yeah, I was listening to some of their work, and I was like, I didn't hear the connection, so I'll be eager to hear it.
They, what do you mean, the connection?
The connection between your sound and their sound.
Oh, yeah. It's cool. It's a cool collaboration because it's sort of very unexpected.
Yes.
And they're just both, Colin and Curtis are so musically, they're so well versed, and they're both multi-instrumentalists, both producers. They bring so much that they could do anything. So it's fun, and I can't wait for people to hear it. Yeah.
That one you're not going to forget to release.
No, that's coming out August 1st. It is in the queue.
Have you ever had the chance to sing with your mom?
We sing together all the time. You mean like something that's been recorded?
Yeah, something that's been recorded.
Actually, I think she's singing in the good stuff. Gosh, I'm sure we got her in there. I'm almost positive because it was a thing. So this is kind of funny. Mom and I used to sing together all the time. When I started writing songs, I would be like, let me play you my new song. I'd sit with my guitar, and then she'd sing along and she'd sing harmonies. I'm like, oh, okay, now it sounds like a real song. Like it has harmony, And anyway, so early in my career, I got to play at the Sundance Film Festival at a little, showcase for ASCAP, I think. And, of course, so I had a guitar player, but it was just me and the guitar player. But always my mom would sing harmonies on my songs. And so I was like, Mom, you gotta please, can you play the show with me? And she was like, I'm too nervous. I can't do it. I'm like, Mom, please. It sounds so fun. She's like, okay, I'll do it. But I'm doing it from backstage. Like, so she didn't want to be on the stage. She had too much stage fright. So they put a monitor so she could hear what I was singing. And she had a microphone literally behind the curtain of where we were filming, or off state to the side of it somewhere. No one could see her. But so there was just like this phantom harmony voice coming, and it was, Sissy Spacek, which is funny now. At the time I was just like, I was so like, Mom, come on, just come, but anyway, it was a funny moment. So yes. So at a certain point I was like wanting her to play with me and like gig with me. And she was like, you're going to need to replace me. But yeah, we sing together all the time. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. What drives your work? Your music? What drives your music?
I think it's different things. I just think it's whenever something really gets in me and inspires me and like lights that, little fuse. It's always been harder for me when I don't have something that sort of does that for me to just sort of just come up with something without any sort of feeling behind it. Like most of my songs are based on something from real life, whether it's a movie I saw or a song I heard or an article. A lot of like things in the world and stories from friends. I would say it's sort of real emotion and feelings that are real in the world somewhere. I think art, other art, the way something makes you feel, makes you, learning about other artists. It's inspiring. It's like, oh,
yeah,
they feel that too. They get it.
Are you the type of artist that if you get a bug in your ear at 2:00 in the morning, you've got to get up and write it or record it so you don't forget it?
I'll certainly record it into my phone. Yeah. Like a little voice memo. Yeah. Whenever the inspiration hits, I guess life. I guess the answer is life. Like what is the thing? It's like just, really taking it in. I mean, what else is there?
Yeah, that's true. Life is a terrific inspiration. If you live a life,
Yeah.
I
would say, when I first started writing, it was definitely like angst and heartbreak and turmoil. And like, I was in middle school, high school, and all this, did the boy call me back, or, how I felt and whatever, and that kind of stuff. But, can't only write about heartache. You have to learn to write about things when you're happy. So you can take from other people's.
I can think of a few artists who have made a career out of writing simply about heartache.
Yeah, a lot of them. I mean, it's God. I remember listening to I Can't Make You Love Me, Bonnie Raitt, and just crying, like driving down Sunset Boulevard, just crying and being like, she gets it. I know, like you hear a song, it just makes you feel seen and makes you feel like you're not alone. Yeah.
Well, I got to say, there's a number of your songs that do that for me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's the coolest thing. The greatest gift of sharing music.
Yeah.
When it can mean something to somebody.
All right. We knocked off my questions.
Woo!
Yeah. Thank you. This was delightful. It's been 2.5 years in the making.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so glad we finally did it.
Yeah, I am too. I appreciate the time, and I wish you nothing but continued success. And I'm looking forward to the new releases.
Thank you. Me too. Yeah. And there's more in the pipelines that I'm getting ready to release after About It comes out. So.
Oh, you are?
Posted. Yeah.
Can you tell us about that? Can we break new ground? Can we break a secret?
I can't say anything. I'm keeping it tight-lipped, but I will say there are some other different, really cool collaborations that I'm
really?
About. Yeah.
Oh, well, now I'm going to have.
I've kind of been on this little like collaboration sort of journey.
Okay.
Sort of bring out different sides of me and to explore some things. And it's been really fun and challenging and like exciting.
Is there an unexpected collaboration that we can look forward to?
I would say so. But that's, I can't say who it is.
All right. I won't push. Tempting as it might be. All right. Perfect. I will let you go.
Awesome.
All right.
Nice to see you, Keith.
Nice to see you. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Many thanks to Skylar for her time and for sharing her story.
This episode of Centre Stage was written and produced by Keith R. Higgins and Jeff Calhoun. The show was recorded at Thunderlove Studio, where it was engineered by
Daphne Morris,
with help from
Penetration.
edited by
Vic Titball,
with help from
Clem Fandango.
Our theme song is Cynical by Jaguar on Mars. You can stream Jaguar on Mars wherever you stream your favorite music. The songs that you heard during this podcast were Sunshine, Life After, The Good Stuff, Who Am I to You, East Side, and lastly you heard What Good Is Love. You can stream Skylar's music wherever you stream your favorite music. Please remember to support independent music.
original music by Mike Pellegrino.
If you like what you've heard, please remember to subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps other people find the podcast. Thanks for listening.
Grazie.
Bailey Leaf.
Rob Janicki. Mike Pellegrino. Farina Bella.
S.W. Loudon.
Michael Janicki. Peyton Janicki.
This show's executive producer is Lulu McGillicuddy and is in the loving memory of
Lucas Thunderlow.
And now, until we meet again next time, I remain as always obediently yours.
Abandoned Albums is a production of Paw Print Media.